All right, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to look at some different built-in functions that PHP gives us to where we can deal with our arrays and do some really cool things. So let's dive right in. I got a lot to show you, and I'm not going to cover everything to do with arrays because there is just a lot. So let's make sure, I'm over to my screen now, let's make sure that you have your server up and running on Linux. This is the command you type. You have to look it up for Mac and Windows, but it should be very similar on Mac at least. There's also a graphical user interface, but whatever. We like to use terminal as developers, so that's what we're doing. So let's go ahead now. We're just going to stay in our arrays PHP file here, and we're going to go through and show some different ways of dealing with these arrays. And so let me just look at my syllabus and make sure I don't miss anything here. Okay, the first thing I want to show you guys is how to get an account of how many things are in your array. So we have this array called colors, and down here at the bottom, let's just look at count. Okay, so the count is just a function that's built into PHP, literally called count. And then you could pass in your array as the parameter to that. And we can set this, let's just set this equal to size. And then let's dump our size to our screen so we can see that there. So let's go ahead and save that and refresh. And now you can see that we have dumped an integer of 4. And you can see that we do indeed have 4 elements in our array. So the size, or the count function will give us how many elements are in any given array. So we may need to know that, you know, at any point in time. So that's how you do that. You can count how many elements are in an array with the count function. All right, so let's move on to the next thing then. I want to talk about is ways that we can remove and add things to the beginnings and ends of your array. So let's look at first, well, let's just go ahead. We got our, well, I'm going to put a comment here called manipulate arrays. Okay, so if we want to take something off the beginning of an array, so let's just look at our colors array up here. We have red as the first one. So what I can do is I can actually say array underscore, and we can do something called shift. So if we do array shift, we can pass in the array, so we had colors. And now let's just dump our colors array again, right there. And let's refresh and see what we have. So now, when we first dumped our colors array, we had red, green, blue, purple. Then, if you look at our code down here at the bottom, we used an array shift. And the array shift takes the first element off of the array and like shifts it off. That's what it's called. It shifts the first element off of the array. So now we just have green, blue, and purple in that array. So we permanently changed our colors array by removing the first element of that array. So what if we wanted to add something to the beginning of the array? Well, we could do the opposite of shift, and that is array unshift. Okay, so then we could give it our array, and then the second we can have multiple parameters, but let's just add 1 for now, and we will say pink. Now if I dump colors again, now we have pink, green, blue, purple. So the unshift will prepend to the beginning of our array a new element here. And that function actually allows us to do multiple, so we could just do comma separated. So if I wanted to add cyan and pink, let's see what that does. So now we have pink, cyan, green, blue, purple. Okay, so that is shift and unshift, and that is shift takes off the beginning of the array, and unshift adds to the beginning of the array. Well, we have the same exact thing that we can do with the end of the array, and that is array pop. So we can just pass in our array there, which is colors, and then let's dump our colors again and see what we get. Now this should remove the last element of our array. And now you can see down here at the bottom of the screen, we do have blue. Let me check here, make sure you guys can actually see. Okay, good. Just making sure my dumb face is not blocking any of this information. But yeah, so we popped off the end of that array. But we can also add to the array by using a array push. Array push will add to the end of the array. So we can say colors. And now we can add another color to the end. And let's see if I can think of one. What is a good color? Let's do yellow. There we go. So if I refresh now, uh-oh, what happened? What's going on here? Let me check. Let me make sure I have this push correct. I believe I do. Oh, I'm stupid. I just didn't dump it to the screen so we can see it. But now, when we can push it, we can also do multiple colors at the end. So if I want to add purple back, like that, we could do that. So let's refresh now. And now you can see that we have the array and we've added yellow and purple to the end. So before, with pop, we removed purple from the end. And then with array push, we added yellow and purple. So let's just go through those really quickly. Those four things, shift and unshift, are to do with the beginning of the array. Shift removes the first element of the array, and unshift adds something to the beginning of the array. The end of the array, we use pop and push. Pop removes the last element of the array, and push adds one or more elements to the end of the array. So that's how we can manipulate what is inside of an array with code. After it's already been determined. So up here we set up the initial array, okay, and then we printed that to the screen, and then we started manipulating that array with array shift, unshift, pop, and push. So that's how we can add and remove elements to the array. I will show you one more shorthand way of adding something to the end of the array, and that would be, this is the same as push, so you can do colors, and then do an empty square brackets and do an equal sign, and then we can just add a new color here. So let's add black, which I know technically black's not a color, but and then we have to print that. Oops, we'll print that or dump that to the screen. So this will do the same thing as a push. So now we can see that we've added black to the end of our colors array. All right, so that is the different ways of adding and removing from an array. Let me look here. I wanted to show you. Okay, so then what we can do is we can do a check where we can say, let's do exists. And let's just find out if the color white exists in our array, okay? Or actually, let's do red. So exists, what we can, there is a function called in_array, and then we give it the needle that we're searching for as the first. So we're looking for red, and then we're telling it in the second parameter, well, what array are we looking through? So this is the needle in the haystack, and this in array will tell us true or false if this exists. So let's go ahead now and just dump that exists to the screen. I'm gonna save that and refresh. and we'll have to scroll down here, and you can see that red does not exist in our array. So that is the inArray function. If I go ahead then and we just, let's do an array unshift, and let's put red back in to the beginning of our array like it started. And then let's do exists again. And now we're going to check in array. We'll do the same thing. We're checking for red in our colors array. And if we dump exists now, after we unshifted that, the second one should be true. And you can see that it is here. So now we added red back into the array, and we checked it first, it wasn't there, we added it to the array, we checked it again with our inArray function, and it's true. So the inArray will give us back a Boolean, and we can search for a needle in the haystack. So we're searching if something exists in our array. All right, the other thing is, let's go ahead and look for, let's say we don't know the key of where that exists. So let's say I want to find out where the color yellow exists. So we could say key is equal to, and then there's a function called key. And what we want to do here is we want to tell it the array, or what we're looking for. So let's look for yellow, and we're looking for it in our colors array. Okay, I may have done that backwards. Okay. How did I, let me look at the documentation for that really quick. And let me just show you guys where you can see all these array functions, because I'm not going to go through them all. But if you go to php.net, let's look this up together and figure out why I did that wrong. And if you look for array, just search for array functions, you're going to get a list of all the some of the different functions you can use with array. So I'm looking for the key function. Okay. Never mind. That's not what I was that's not what I was looking for actually. So let's skip key for now. Let's see. There was some other ones that I wanted to show you guys. Let's see. Let me look at my syllabus here. Well, let's talk about sorting our arrays. That could be pretty fun. So let's go back to our source code real quick, and let's get rid of this, because I just don't want to talk about that right now, because it's not very useful right now. Because we're not actually manually like changing the pointer of our array or anything like that. So the key would tell you where your pointer is currently at in your array. So let's not even worry about that for now, because I don't want to confuse you. But let's say we wanted to sort these alphabetically. Well, we could do that very easily. And what we're going to do here is just say sort, and we'll pass in colors. And then let's dump colors here to the screen. And let's see what we get there. And there we go. These are sorted by alphabet now. So it changed the order of our array. So our list is no longer in the same order there. It's sorted alphabetically. So that's what the sort function does. Now we could use rsort, which will reverse sort those. And now if we go and save and refresh, now these are sorted, but they are sorted from Z to A alphabetically. They're reverse sorted. So there's quite a few sort functions that we could use. if we were trying to sort our associative array, we could do the same thing there, and we could actually do ksort, which sorts by the key. So you tell it the array now, so we're going to do person, and let's just dump person to the screen. Now that array is going to be reordered, and it has put you use the keys in alphabetical order. So we have age, eyes, first name, last name. That's not how we set it up. Originally it was first name, last name, age, eyes. So there's that, and then of course there are many different sort functions you can look up. There's ksort, which will reverse sort these by the keys. And then you could also, let's see. I guess one more kind of fun one that I'll show you is you can actually shuffle an array. So there's a shuffle function. So this would be cool if you had like if you had, you know, some sort of game you were building or something like that, and you wanted to make them random. So now if I dump colors, so we've shuffled that colors array, and if I refresh, now you can see that these are in random orders because we ran it with the function, the shuffle function. All right, so that is not an extensive list of all the different things you can do with arrays, but I wanted to show you some of the built-in functionality that PHP gives us, and you can find more on php.net. There are just a ton of array functions that you can use to go ahead and manipulate your arrays. The only other thing I would like to mention is if we want to loop through your arrays, we already looked in our loop section or chapter or lesson, sorry, we looked at the for each loop. But I want to show you something that we didn't quite cover yet, and that is the way that we can loop through. So let's say for each, and let's just loop through our person, and we'll say for each, and then before we were saying person as something, but this, what we can do is you could say for each person, and then we can do key, well, we say as key value pair. Now with an associative array, we can actually do something with the key of that array, so that the associative part of the key or index of the array and the value. So let's just go ahead and let's print those to the screen by using our e function. So we'll print our key, and then we'll also print our value. Okay. And actually, you know what? Let's do something a little more cool. Let's actually echo key, and then I'm going to concatenate on a colon and a space, and then we'll concatenate on value. So now if we refresh, well, hang on a second. Let's wrap all of that in our e function so that each one of these are on a new line. So now we have age 40, eyes blue, first name Curtis, last name Parham. So we're looping through our person array, and we have access to our key and our value, and we could do something with those. In this case, I just printed them to the screen, but you might need to use the key in other instances to do other things. So I just wanted to show you that kind of amendment or additional functionality with the for each loop, that you can use this syntax to get both the key and the value. Now if I wanted to change this, we could actually replace that with colors. And now let's see what that does. So now you have 0 cyan, 1 purple, 2 pink, and you have the key is the index. Okay, so these are going to be starting with 0, and then the value is the actual value of the element in the array. All right, so I hope that's helpful. In the next video, we're going to talk about the switch statement, and then we'll have one more video after that to kind of tie it all together and make us a quick example project where we're going to build an HTML form, and then we're going to process that form with PHP with all the things that we learned and do something with it. It'll be super simple. We're not going to do anything too crazy yet, but then I think we'll wrap up this chapter on the beginnings of PHP. There's plenty more to learn, but we will learn them as we go and as we need them. But I think we're going to be getting real close to starting our first major project, which will be our login registration system. So I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.